We are going to talk about some shocking details from a source about Meghan and Harry splitting.
Thanks to this historic decision by William, and listen to me, it was by William, not Charles, to strip Andrew of his princely titles and all vestiges of royal privilege. An important precedent has been set. A monarch can now remove a duke title and even a princely title. So trust me, Harry and Meghan right now should be very afraid.
On February 17th, 2026, inside the majestic Grand St. George's Hall at Windsor Castle, beneath those towering, echoing ceilings, Prince William stepped up to a golden lectern with a stare that could slice through stone. But this time, what came out of his mouth wasn't the polite, polished speech everyone expected from the heir to the throne. His words hit like thunder, sharp, bold, and final. There was no sugarcoating, no royal riddles. Prince William dropped a statement that shook the room. He declared that the House of Windsor was entering a brand new era, one built on transparency, accountability, and discipline. You could practically feel the air shift as people realized this wasn't just another ceremonial address, it was a royal earthquake. This wasn't routine business, it was a line drawn in gold and stone. Royal Order Number 17 wasn't some dusty piece of paperwork, it was the explosive result of months of quiet power moves and late-night talks behind palace doors. Princess Anne, Lord Alair, the Duke of Pembroke, and Duchess Sophie had all had their say, and just days earlier, the Royal Family Tribunal had sealed it with official approval. But the real shocker? The target of this royal decree, the order made it clear, Prince Harry was done for good in any royal role. No comebacks, no exceptions, no loopholes. Every title, every symbol, every ounce of royal privilege once tied to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex would stay locked away indefinitely. The message was crystal clear. The crown had spoken, and there was no going back. Every asset and inheritance tied to the Sussex line within the crown estate got frozen on the spot. Not a single coin could move. The message came through like a royal alarm bell, loud, cold, and final. Prince William spelled it out with no hesitation. If the monarchy could strip Prince Andrew of his titles to protect the royal image, then no one else, not even his own brother, would be spared if their actions threatened the crown's integrity. Even if it meant drawing bloodlines in the sand, the institution came first. That pointed reference to King Charles's earlier call to strip Andrew of his honors wasn't casual. It was calculated. Andrew had already been pushed into the shadows, told to use his private name, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, and shown the door at Royal Lodge. Despite the promises once tied to Queen Elizabeth's word, that eviction had quietly kicked off a new era of royal discipline. And now, right there in that grand hall, everyone could see the rules tightening even more. William didn't sound like a brother trying to settle family drama. He spoke like a ruler laying down law. His tone was sharp, almost icy, declaring that loyalty to the crown outweighed family ties, emotions, or sympathy. There wasn't even a flicker of hesitation in his delivery, just raw conviction. Every word landed heavy, giving the speech the kind of weight that left the crowd breathless. This wasn't some emotional fallout, it was structural defense, a strategic safeguard to keep the monarchy's walls standing tall no matter who stood outside them. The timing of it all only made the atmosphere more electric. The tension in that room could have snapped glass. It all went down in January 2026, a quiet storm nobody saw coming. Prince Harry had secretly finalized his divorce from Meghan Markle, wrapping up the legal side in total privacy. But while the paperwork stayed sealed, the drama sure didn't. Whispers about custody fights, image rights disputes, and media leaks flew fast across both sides of the Atlantic. Every rumor seemed louder than the last, and the royal walls were shaking with speculation. But what really set the palace on edge was what landed on the royal tribunal's desk behind closed doors. Lady Louise Windsor, working closely with top royal legal minds, dropped a thick report packed with explosive details about Archie and Lilibet. Inside were claims of major irregularities, conflicting birth records filed in different countries, commercial deals using the children's names and faces for profit, and troubling questions about compliance with international child protection standards. It was a minefield of controversy, and everyone in that chamber knew it. One detail hit harder than the rest: a media licensing venture known as Sussex Kitchen. The report suggested that the children were being featured almost like public personalities. That revelation flipped the whole situation upside down. What once looked like a messy family argument suddenly looked like a full-blown institutional crisis. From that moment, the tone shifted completely. It wasn't about family feuds anymore. It was about the monarchy's future, royal legitimacy, and the dangerous precedent being set before the world's eyes. Lord Pembroke spelled it out without a hint of hesitation. The crown couldn't treat this like private drama anymore. It had officially crossed into constitutional territory, demanding an immediate, decisive royal response. The royal order signed on February 15th shook the palace all over again. It introduced a completely new role within the monarchy: royal matrons. Princess Catherine and Duchess Sophie were officially named as legal guardians and caretakers for Archie and Lilibet if either parent became unfit or lost custody rights. While the children wouldn't carry princely titles, every part of their well-being, from schooling to healthcare to how they appeared online, would now fall directly under royal supervision. It was an unprecedented move that left the public gasping. Prince William made his intentions loud and clear. Archie and Lilibet were Windsor children, and no one would ever use them as pawns for fame, clicks, or profit. But just when it seemed the dust might settle, a shocking twist hit the headlines. Reports surfaced that Prince Harry had quietly contacted Princess Catherine's private staff, suggesting he might give up all custody rights, but on one condition: the divorce files had to stay sealed. His words, as described by insiders, carried raw emotion. "If I step away completely, can they finally be kept safe?" The heartbreak behind that plea stunned even royal watchers. But the calm didn't last long. Only hours after William's public declaration, Meghan's legal team hit back hard, filing official objections that no custody or guardianship change could happen without her full, written consent. The standoff exploded instantly, turning what had started as a controlled royal process into a looming international legal showdown. What unfolded after that looked less like a family rift and more like the start of a global legal war. Through it all, William kept his composure, his tone steady, his message unwavering. He reminded everyone that duty must rise above discomfort and that protecting royal heritage mattered more than patching fractured ties. Public support in the UK began climbing fast. Across Britain, many saw Prince William's bold move as a turning point, a future king putting the crown's survival above blood ties. Meanwhile, international headlines called it a measured but monumental break from centuries of royal tradition. But inside the country, people knew it was something far deeper, a clear signal that the monarchy was rewriting its own rulebook. This so-called royal reset wasn't just talk, it was the beginning of a full transformation. Royal Order Number 17 turned out to be only the first domino to fall. The palace made sure everyone understood this wasn't a symbolic gesture, it was the start of a sweeping internal overhaul. Unlike past quiet reviews that vanished into the archives, this operation brought something brand new and historic into play. The royal establishment confirmed the creation of a sovereign family court, a judicial body planted right inside the monarchy itself. Lord Altair Pembroke stepped forward to announce it, calling it the first of its kind since the end of the Plantagenet era. Its reach was vast, covering titles, representation, access rights, inheritance, and guardianship matters. Practically no royal issue was off limits anymore. It was control, refined, official, and absolute. Behind the grandeur, Princess Catherine and Duchess Sophie had already been quietly putting in the groundwork for months. They'd teamed up with education advisors, child welfare specialists, and royal security experts to design detailed contingency plans for Archie and Lilibet. Plans covering schooling, privacy, and every possible future twist. The precision and secrecy behind it all showed just how serious this new royal order had become. When Princess Catherine accepted her new role as royal matron, it wasn't just a title. It came loaded with real power and heavy responsibility. Suddenly, she stood at the center of every major decision shaping Archie and Lilibet's futures. During the tribunal sessions, her voice carried major influence, and everyone in the room knew it. When reporters asked her about the emotional toll of stepping into such a sensitive role, her response, according to palace insiders, was calm yet firm. "This isn't about punishing anyone. It's about providing safety and stability. These children aren't to blame for their parents' choices or ambitions." Her words hit deep, flipping the entire story from revenge to genuine protection. Across the Atlantic, Meghan Markle's legal team didn't waste a second firing back. They argued that a British royal tribunal had zero authority over children living in California, calling the monarchy's actions unwarranted intrusion. But Lord Pembroke didn't blink. He countered with icy precision. He reminded everyone that the children's titles, public roles, and financial benefits had been tied to the crown from the moment they were born, meaning their status could be reviewed or even revoked under royal law. The tension was palpable, like two legal worlds colliding in slow motion. Then came the real bombshell. Fresh intelligence briefings presented to the tribunal. They flagged major inconsistencies in documents linked to the children, questions about nationality, education records, and healthcare files that had been quietly whispered about for months. Now those murmurs were official evidence laid before the Privy Council, and right in the middle of this royal storm, a new figure stepped up. Lady Louise Windsor, only 22, suddenly found herself playing a strikingly important role in the proceedings. Her calm, meticulous presence started drawing serious attention from both palace insiders and the global press alike. Lady Louise Windsor delivered a sharp, meticulously detailed report that shook the tribunal to its core. Her findings exposed clear mismatches between the children's official registrations and the public statements made about them. But what made her presentation hit even harder was her tone, calm, clinical, and free of drama. That quiet precision gave her words more power than any emotional outburst ever could. Every page of her analysis echoed through the royal chamber like a truth no one could ignore. Then came a moment straight out of royal history.
Prince William has finally snapped. Enough is enough. He has told friends he will strip Meghan Markle of the HRH title she keeps using, defying an agreement with the late Queen Elizabeth II to no longer use the title. The Daily Beast has reported that King Charles is turning a blind eye, but King William won't.
Prince William walked into the tribunal holding two items, a sealed letter once written by Queen Elizabeth II and a copy of Royal Order No. 17. The atmosphere turned electric. Though he didn't read the letter aloud, he recited a line from memory. Never permit duty to weaken under the weight of personal feeling. You stand not as their brother, but as the nation's future sovereign. The words hit like royal thunder. With measured grace, he placed the sealed envelope into the royal archives, as if locking away more than paper, sealing a generational promise in wax and history. Things moved fast after that. Despite King Charles's reported fragile health, he personally signed off on William's decisions, pointing to Prince Andrew's earlier removal as proof that no one, no matter their rank or name, stands above the survival of the monarchy. A private royal council session followed, attended by Princess Anne and Lord Pembroke, where a confidential document titled Duke of Sussex Disciplinary Response, Phase 2, lay squarely on the table. By the end of that session, the message was absolute. No compromises, no exceptions. The rule was now etched into royal precedent. Even the sovereign's own child could face permanent removal if found to threaten the stability of the crown. The monarchy's new era of accountability had officially begun. Not long after, a short but powerful notice appeared in the official Royal Gazette. Just one crisp sentence that carried the weight of an era. It declared that the Duke of Sussex would no longer hold sovereign-level privileges, diplomatic travel protections, or any form of institutional representation within the United Kingdom. The simplicity of the statement only made it hit harder. Quiet words, massive impact. Reactions across Britain came fast and divided, but polls showed a clear trend: strong national support for the move. Many saw it as proof that the monarchy had finally drawn a firm line between family loyalty and royal duty. Meanwhile, across the ocean in Montecito, reports said Prince Harry sat alone, reading the decree in silence. The final line hit him hardest. No return shall be contemplated until the children's full legal identities are submitted, verified, and recognized by the Crown. That wasn't just rejection, it was a direct challenge. Then came whispers that sent the press into overdrive. At RAF Northolt, sources spotted 2 child car seats being quietly loaded onto a private aircraft under special custody transfer status, awaiting final authorization. Instantly, rumors exploded worldwide. Had a secret agreement been made? Had Harry decided to give up custody? One palace insider claimed he had offered to step back completely, saying he wanted peace above all, if it meant keeping the children safe. But nothing about this saga stayed still. Late-night sightings of legal teams arriving at the Montecito estate fueled speculation that the case was shifting toward Hague Convention jurisdiction. What started as a royal family crisis had now spiraled into an international legal standoff. Too large, too complex, too public to contain. Back in Windsor, Prince William reportedly shared a quiet reflection with Princess Anne that individuals may falter, but the monarchy must adapt, harden, and rise stronger than ever. The crown was entering a whole new reality, one where titles no longer acted as shields and family bloodlines no longer guaranteed protection. What had started as a public statement had evolved into something much bigger, a full-blown royal doctrine. The next steps weren't just about defining duties, they were about rewriting the very meaning of royal identity itself. Just when it seemed the storm might calm, Prince William stepped forward again, and this time the shift cut straight to the monarchy's heart. Behind the thick doors of Windsor, quiet but historic discussions unfolded about invoking a rarely used rule known as the Lineage Safeguard Clause. This was no ordinary piece of royal legislation. It was an old and powerful safeguard, first drafted in the early 1900s to block inheritance by any royal whose actions might disgrace or endanger the institution. It had only been used a handful of times, once during the Edward VIII abdication crisis, and later after Lord Mountbatten's assassination. That same clause granted the reigning monarch, or acting sovereign, the authority to deny royal recognition and succession rights to descendants of the family name if their loyalty to the crown was found lacking. And now King Charles had officially activated it, confirming its enforcement with full royal authority. The shockwaves rippled instantly through every corner of the palace. The consequences were massive. Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor and Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor were formally declared ineligible for any royal trust benefits, property interests, or ceremonial roles until they reached the age of 21. Even then, their eligibility wouldn't be automatic. They'd have to pass a rigorous ethics evaluation and a complete identity verification before the Crown Court. It was a move that stunned the world. The monarchy wasn't just changing rules, it was rebuilding its very bloodline from the inside out. In simple terms, Archie and Lilibet's royal status wasn't erased. It was suspended in limbo. Their titles and privileges were frozen, neither revoked nor recognized. It was a constitutional gray zone, a deliberate pause that said more than any outright rejection could. To many observers, this marked the moment when the issue stopped being a family feud and officially became a controlled institutional crisis. The monarchy was no longer reacting emotionally. It was containing the situation with precision and power. Then came Meghan Markle's fiery response. Reports described her storming out of a private strategy meeting in visible fury. Later, paparazzi caught her pacing the Montecito estate, visibly shaken and angry that her children had been pushed aside. But what really set off a media firestorm was one quote that kept surfacing across outlets: "I gave them the brand." Those 5 words sent shockwaves worldwide. Commentators and critics jumped on it instantly, arguing it was an unintentional confession, proof that Archie and Lilibet had been woven into a commercial identity instead of being shielded from it. Public opinion started shifting again. Analysts began framing the Crown's decision not as revenge, but as a necessary act of protection, a safeguard against exploitation, even when it meant cutting ties close to home. The tone had turned from scandal to principle, and that made the monarchy's stance even stronger. While King Charles and Prince William remained silent, Duchess Sophie broke the quiet during her address at the Royal Family Ethics Symposium in Cambridge. Without naming anyone, she delivered a pointed truth that echoed through the hall. No child should ever be treated as leverage, merchandise, or a means of access. Her words landed like a moral hammer, calm, elegant, and impossible to argue with. The evidence files backing the tribunal's ruling were explosive, reportedly filled with data inconsistencies, strange digital edits, and mismatched timelines. Analysts claimed the documents revealed tampered photo metadata, storylines crafted for profit, and even communications linking media projects to private medical visits involving the children. The official wording of the decision didn't hold back for a second. It cut straight to the truth. Their identities have been turned into instruments. Their privacy has been exploited for gain. This determination is not driven by revenge. It represents rescue. Those lines hit like a royal verdict heard around the world. By then, Prince Harry was absent from the proceedings. Reports described him as emotionally drained and visibly broken after his communications with legal representatives in the UK had surfaced. In the end, he reportedly signed a non-contest agreement with one firm condition: that his children would not live within palace grounds. Instead, Archie and Lilibet were to be relocated to a private estate in Kent, under the supervision of the newly established Crown Guardianship Office. That estate, once linked to Princess Margaret's staff, was said to be quiet, heavily secured, and staffed by trained professionals, caregivers from non-titled backgrounds experienced in trauma-sensitive care. The move was presented not as punishment, but as protection, a step meant to give the children stability away from the media glare. Princess Catherine retained her formal role as Guardian General for royal minors, a title granting her moral oversight rather than daily control. When asked for comment, her words were brief but powerful. "This isn't about occupying a palace. It's about securing peace." That calm statement carried enormous weight, reinforcing her image as the firm but compassionate center of the new royal order. Meghan Markle's reply came fast, launched through a newly assembled public relations team, signaling that the next chapter of this royal battle was about to unfold in the court of global opinion. A video soon surfaced online. Meghan Markle seated beside her children's colorful artwork, voice trembling as she declared that her role as a mother had been erased, and her children taken because she refused submission. The clip went viral within minutes, igniting a global firestorm. Comment sections exploded, hashtags clashed, and timelines flooded with debate. Yet despite the emotional outpour, public sentiment gradually tilted in favor of the tribunal's ruling. Across the world, trending tags championed hashtag protect the royal line and hashtag duty over profit. The message was clear: people were choosing principle over spectacle. Experts jumped into the conversation fast. Analysts on both British and American broadcasts pointed out that, under existing international child welfare conventions, the inconsistencies in declared residency could indeed justify British intervention under what they called the Windsor framework. What once looked like royal overreach was now being framed as legal obligation. Then came an unexpected show of solidarity. Sarah Ferguson herself stepped into the storm. In an open letter addressed to Prince William, she praised his decision, writing that transparency protects the crown more than silence ever could, and that no child should ever be treated as bargaining currency. Her words echoed across networks and newspapers alike, marking a rare moment of unity within a family long fractured by divided loyalties and caution. Even the U.S. Embassy in London weighed in, announcing that it would raise no objection to the children's transfer, citing reciprocal legal agreements and respect for British jurisdiction. That statement sealed the matter. The institutional wall was now firmly in place, backed by both sides of the Atlantic. Yet amid all the noise, one quiet detail stood out. A few days after the tribunal's decision, an unsigned handwritten note appeared. It was addressed simply, "To my children." No one claimed it, but the message behind it carried a silence far louder than words. The handwriting matched Prince Harry's unmistakably. Smooth cursive with a faint smear of ink near the edge, as if his hand had trembled while writing. The note read softly, but hit like a whisper turned to thunder. "I loved you long before any titles existed. I love you still now, without them. Someday you'll understand why I chose distance. I hope one day you can forgive me for what I couldn't protect you from." It was never officially confirmed as his, yet the emotional weight of those words spread quietly across the palace and the public alike. A haunting human close to a saga dominated by laws, decrees, and silence. Security operations swiftly adapted. Frogmore Cottage was fully reclaimed by the Crown Estate, locked into strict management protocols with no remaining private claim. Clarence House followed suit, formally redefining royal heir, excluding any descendants of those stripped of honors due to institutional violations. It was a clean legal cut, polished and absolute. Meanwhile, in Scotland, Princess Anne quietly expanded the contingency system under a newly minted term, Code Grey. The classification was designed for rapid containment of reputation risks tied to family misconduct, giving the monarchy a new internal playbook for future storms. Every move felt strategic, cold, and carefully planned to protect the crown's long-term stability. But amid the sweeping administrative changes came one subtle yet deeply emotional update, a change on the official royal family website. Beneath the portraits of King Charles, Prince William, Princess Catherine, and their children, something was missing. The names of the Sussex line were gone, erased from the visual record without announcement or explanation. A quiet digital silence that said everything words no longer could. Two names quietly disappeared. No statement, no ceremony, no fanfare. Archie and Lilibet were simply gone, replaced by a discreet digital note. Status revised per 2026 Royal Custodial Tribunal decision. That was it. No press release, no palace address, no royal acknowledgement, just a single silent update that echoed louder than any public speech ever could. What had begun in St. George's Hall as a straightforward declaration of order had evolved into a full redefinition of royal bloodlines. The monarchy had chosen structure over sentiment, duty over drama. In doing so, it didn't just change how the crown governs, it changed what it means to belong to it. The House of Windsor had rewritten its own identity, trading emotion for endurance and setting a new, unshakable precedent for every generation to come. And while cameras may never capture the secret strategy meetings, the quiet letters, or the late-night decisions behind those palace doors, you can be sure the story isn't over yet. There's always another layer waiting to be uncovered, another truth hidden beneath the crown's polished surface. If you want to keep uncovering the real stories behind the throne, the power plays, the whispers, and the untold royal maneuvers, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment below. Your support keeps this royal truth-telling alive.